speak about the beautiful game, the game of football. The exit of Uganda Cranes from the Africa Cup of Nations 2021 qualifications campaign reduced Uganda to TV audience, and since then, all has not been well in the Ugandan camp. 3 senior players, Captain Dennis Onyango, midfielders Mike Azira and Hassan Waswa, have hung their boots in a manner one would say is premature, of course only dependent on personal judgment, and who knows how many more are in the pipeline to follow suit. The coaches have also taken their fair share of the blame. So have been the players. But how about Fufa? Yes, they have given coaches and players the best they could do to do their job. But what do Fufa's actions say? The management of Khalid Aucho saga and Johnny McKinstry say about their collective cognitive abilities. Can they be trusted enough to make better judges going forward? Are they even the right hands to carry on forward? Should Magogo let go of Fufa and concentrate on his new legislative role in Parliament? Welcome to On the Spot. Gentlemen, I'm so excited that you honored our invitation to be here. You are the kind of people I always look to when I'm enjoying the beautiful game of football. Andy Messigo, of course, you've been the captain before of the Uganda Cranes carrying our flag. Mr. Mike Mutebi, one of the wonderful coaches we've had for KCC and grooming Ugandan footballers who have gone on to play big. Most of you, all of you gentlemen, you are most welcome, and you are on the spot tonight.
Thank you for having us.
Let me begin with you, Mr. Mike Mutebi, because I'm sure you're even senior. You have even coached Andy at one point. Yeah. I'm going to begin with something far away from the actual play of football. Something that bothers me, Mr. Mutebi, is when I watch empty stands in Nambole or any other stadium. And yet when you go back, years back, you know, those stadiums would be full of fans. How do we get back the people, the fans, in big numbers in those stadiums?
Firstly, we must live with the new trends. Now you can see there are no stands. It is standard in the whole world because of the pandemic.
Yeah, but before the pandemic, really.
Even before the pandemic, there were no huge crowds, as you want to say. But I believe back then, the management of the football clubs were very vibrant. And of course, the brand of football the clubs were playing attracted what? Supporters to come and watch games. But I think now the problem is the clubs have failed to get their members right. I don't think most of the clubs know actually who their members are. Because there's one thing being a fan, but before you become a fan, you must become a member of a football club. For instance, you would believe Villa has so many fans, but how many members do they have? Maybe they have 20,000 members. That's huge. And those 20,000 or so members, if they are paid up members, they generate money to the team, you see. So I think the clubs have not done enough to solicit.
There's something you have also said, Mr. Mutebi, that the people would come and watch the brand of football. What do you mean? Has something deteriorated in terms of quality and skill?
A little bit.
But you are the coach, sir?
A little bit. Yeah.
Talents differ.
A little bit.
Yes, but in most cases, people like you are the ones who are supposed to instill the quality and the skill and, you know, to give us the pace and power and precision on the pitch.
Absolutely, and that's what we try to do. But you see, most of coaches, if you are given a job, your masters want you to win a trophy. For them, that is it. But a good coach, you must groom players. You must look around go scout, look for the unknown. Okay? So, but most of us coaches don't do that because we do not have a scouting system at clubs. Clubs don't have a scouting system. You are going to get a player maybe playing in Navitogora, they bring him to Villa or to KCC, not knowing this background or his organic growth, how he has been playing, you know. But back then, you would look at...
How would you expect a club, for example, where you come from, Toro United, to be able to have an academy, to be able to have a junior team and maybe sustain it, and then a coach at the national level can go to Fort Portal or Kasese and identify, because that club will be limping, it is financially weak, it does not have maybe a junior team, and then you may not be able to find that person you think who is talented for you to bring and build another Andy Mwesigwa.
Relate with the schools in that area. There are so many good schools in Toro. All these players that are playing were generated from schools, okay? And most of the clubs were using those schools as an academy.
So what you're saying, we have a system that can help us to identify talent through schools. So there's no lack of system where you can do your scouting.
Yeah, yeah. I'm saying the football club itself, the management, must know what they want. You generate a senior team, but where do you get the players? You must a feeder team. Where do you get the players in the feeder team? From schools. Okay? So if we can do that, you know, the organic growth from school football to competitive football to national team, you know, it will be easy. Okay. For even the national coach to select the right players.
Mr. Mwesigwa, you know, on the issue of empty stands, I wonder what you say of it, because I want to give you two scenarios. That whereas today clubs can play and then they play to themselves, you score a goal, you run to the corner flag and you just do your ndombolo just by yourself. Nobody is celebrating with you, which is painful in my view. But if you flip the coin and have Masaza Cup and bring people Budu versus Bulemezi, yeah, probably Nambola would be full to capacity, or even bring the clans. But also within club football, you bring Ondu Paraka from Arua and put them there. The Nambole would be full. So why is it that in some cases we see passion, real passion for football, but in most cases there isn't? How do we make sure we make that passion infectious all over?
Yeah, thank you so much. What I would maybe say about that issue, I think these days fans don't own clubs than before. Before, fans were the ones that, you know, could own the team. They could have a very big say in the setup of the what? Of the teams. But these days, it is only the so-called executive being, you know, appointed. That is it. And the fans are being left where? Behind. The mobilization, you know, in the fans. Remember, those days I used to play. Okay, I played for clubs like Mbali Heroes, Sports Club Villa. These are the clubs that had fans that could mobilize. Like they used to have a clique of leaders in the fans, and these leaders were the ones to mobilize other fans. So you accumulate numbers and you have big crowds whenever you're doing what? Whenever you're playing, which is different these days. You no longer, like for example, if I'm to ask, who is the chief fan for KCCA right now? Who is, and for Villa, who is that person? You know, and for Express, who is that person? But before, remember, we used to have Mama Baker, Simani Who, and, you know, those people. They were there to lead the fans, you know, and they could mobilize. You find like a club like Villa could have like maybe 100 offices all over the country, you know, for fans. And you could find whenever Villa could hold a game, maybe in Nambole or Nachivubo, fans could come from all over the country.
Yes, but Andy, if you look today, like I'm saying, there are places, teams, like at Masazak level,
Yeah.
or even a team like Odu Paraka, or even a little bit where I come from, Toro United until recently, where you see that people have, you know, the passion. I saw two young men
that's what I've said.
riding a border from Arua to Kampala because Odu Paraka is coming to
Yes,
play.
that's what I've said. They own these fans.
How do we transition that passion into Uganda Cranes, that passion into the other clubs, so that when you have everybody, you know, when you have those stadiums full, chances are that management will be okay, you'll attract even more corporate sponsors, and then football will thrive. In my view, football is not thriving because the passion has gone down. And people seem to have transitioned the passion from local football to the Premier League and other things.
You've talked of the Cranes to have the fans, you know. I would say the Cranes is a national team.
Yes.
That comprises of players from different clubs in the country. So to me, I think the fans could as well come in following their players from their clubs. You know, like for example, Villa may be having maybe 2-3 players, and these players will drive fans, you know, to come and watch the Cranes. That's why I'm saying these days fans don't own clubs. They don't have the clubs at heart.
There's no doubt when Uganda Cranes is taking on any team in Nambole, you can feel the love for football. In fact, that is the moment when we are really Uganda. That's when people don't ask your tribe or whatever. You know, you score a goal and people hug each other without even asking, you know, even asking who is this and who is the other. They don't care. All they want to support Team Uganda. And how I wish what I see in Nambole when Uganda Cranes is playing is something that can be prevailing most of the time, because that's the moment when the passion and the love for the country and the players is on the roof.
Yeah, but I think it will differ. The club, fan base, and the national team. These are really two different things.
Okay.
For the national team, there are many things that you look at that may draw fans to come and watch. You know, one probably maybe would be the style of play. You know, you know, how should I call it? A beautiful game that is being executed by the team. You know, and how can that come up? Is selecting the rightful players for the national team. And after selecting those players, again, do the human resource really well. You know, take care of these players very well, finance them, give them, you know, the right allowances they are supposed to get. Then you'll see players playing with that passion. Okay. You know.
Let me come back to Mike.
Yes.
Let me come back to Mike, because Mike talked about something very fundamental in my view, the brand of football today, and I'm remembering names that seems to have really been cemented in the Hall of Fame. Many names like Paul Hasule, names like Felix Omondi, names like Majid Musisi, names like Sekatawa, names like Andy Metsuga. How come those names? I suppose they were playing a certain brand of football that was exceptional. And maybe somehow things are wobbly today, but that is also the management to blame and you, the coaches, I suppose.
We've never had a style of play. Never. The coaches then would get these good players, put them on the field of play, and they play individual football. Jackson Mayanja would carry the ball, dribble. Majidu would head the ball, score. But you could not see any coherence in playing, that the ball is circulated well from back to midfield. We've never had that. The late Oti told me that for him, what he would do, select all these good players, the Omondis of this world, the Chirundas of this world, tell them to go and play. and they will not play as a team. That's wherever. Whenever we would play a team from outside, would say, oh, these players are playing a certain way. They are using the ball well as a team.
In a choreographic kind of manner.
But for us, we had these individual players. The individual players would do something exceptional, but not as a team. So we have never had a style of play.
But that's interesting. Why didn't you introduce it?
It takes some of us to be very, very strict. Because for me, when of course I came into football, I was following the Dutch way of playing football, and I said I had to import it in whatever I was. I learned, I was faced with a lot of resistance. Things like, those things don't work here, we have our own. Then you're asking yourself, what is your own? If you are going to compete with the best, you must look at the international best practices.
Mike, you're one of the most respected football coaches in our country. For you to say you also didn't have enough latitude to exhibit what you know, I mean, it's hard to believe.
I did. Wherever I've been, I did. That's why I introduced this whatever called the kawowo, saturating the ball, using the ball well. And you could see that every team I coached, one would say they play this way. They know they're going to play this way. Okay? Villa had it. The villas of Paul Hasure and the late Majid Musi, Surakato, they had a brand of football which they had imported from the so-called big league then in England. They'll play that route one type of football, toss the ball quick, put it in the wing cross, and that's how they were playing. Now, but they could not bring that into the national team. It would be very difficult to imagine what Villa was playing and KCC to put a style of play, you see. So it is quite asking, but that's what we have to do.
Okay, now let me look into the matters of cranes proper, because sometimes we have had trouble and people say maybe poor facilitation and stuff like that. When it comes to matters of pay, you're a former captain of the Uganda Cranes.
Yeah.
What was your most frustrating moments, and how can we go about them as you as a football captain? Because what you tell us can maybe give us a picture of where we stand today.
Good enough, I've played on, I think, 3 generations. But the way I see things now, they've really changed, and on a positive note.
Okay, that's a good thing.
When it comes to the payments and allowances of players. Back then, I would love to let you know that there was really not that much money in the game, in the cranes, I should say. We could travel in a very, 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 very crazy and uncomfortable, you know, circumstance. Like, for example, there are times we could travel but sleep on the airports. We go by bus, you know.
Because there's no money for accommodation.
Yes, but now it is quite different. We even have chartered planes, you know. We have chartered planes. From here you go play and come back, you know. So the welfare these days is very, very okay. And that shows that there is a lot of money in the cranes. But the question is that money flowing really well to where it is supposed to finally get to, you know? There have been loopholes. You've had players complaining, you know, the salaries are not coming, the allowances are not coming, but yet when the money has been released, you know. So that somehow has let the game.
So well, when we're talking about money and salaries, if you're comfortable, what are we talking about? In what range is somebody being paid? Because I'm asking that because you're donning a Ugandan jersey,
Yeah.
and for us, the rest of Ugandans, you are fighting on our behalf. You're on the front line for us.
Yes.
You are warriors wherever you've gone around the world on the continent.
Exactly.
So I need to know whether they have given you something to be proud of so that you can say, I am representing 40 million Ugandans and this is what I'm being paid in terms of appreciation.
There is no enough money. Whatever it is, as long as it is doing what? Getting to you. That is what I can say. I'm saying before there was no money completely. And whatever we could get was really peanuts. You know, but these days there is really some good money. The government is injecting in money. We have sponsors, you know, though the fans have let us down that they're not turning up for games, you know, but at least for now, things are better.
Okay,
yeah.
Things are better, but recent events are showing us, it appears, players who are hung their boots in succession, well, that is even their choice, and some of them perhaps even they have reached that age when they think maybe they need to do so. But Mike, in most cases, Ugandan coaches for Uganda Cranes, they don't seem to live in a harmonious manner. Somebody is fired, somebody is stopped, something happens. What's wrong with that job of being coach of Uganda Cranes, as if it is a poisoned well that whoever drinks on it, then you don't end well. Sometimes they come back, but the end is always not very good.
Ugandan coaches fired in the national team?
Yes.
Maybe because they are not performing well. Because they are not performing well. Okay. But that's the choice for Fufa to hire if they think a Ugandan coach is able to coach the Uganda Cranes. Why not? Okay. Of course, they're going to put standards in place, performance. They want the team to qualify for AFCON. They want the team to play well. Now, if you can afford that, why not take the job? But usually, I think the Ugandan coaches are not facilitated well. I remember when I was the national team coach in 2004, I used to look for friends, my friends, to get money and buy equipment for the national team. Can you imagine? I'm telling you this.
Begging people.
Yes, because they were my
to
friends.
facilitate the national team.
Yes, they wanted to see the national team get the brand right. And it is indeed during my time that the national team gained the brand. Okay? It started being recognized. Okay? And when Mr. Mulindwa took over, you know, they built on that. Okay? But talking about allowances, in the national team they don't pay money. They pay allowances. And these allowances are agreed on with the president of the federation, and which money have been given to these players. Sometimes they may not come.
There was a promise from the president, I think, to pay some sort of a salary of 1 million shillings as opposed to the national players.
That also was engineered by Engineer Magogo. There is no federation that pays players salary. Salaries are paid by clubs. But that was the first, which I thank Magogo for that. Now, if that money comes, the way they distribute it maybe may have a problem, because you may not know who is in the national team at the current time, unless they say there's a certain group of players, maybe 50, that is start in stone that these are supposed to be national team players. Now, that will render incompetence, because people will
have to fight for the number.
You'll say, I'm always there, even if I'm not performing well.
But okay, then the allowance should come when they have called you to camp.
Yes,
I can understand what you're saying.
Actually, it was not right to say they were offering salaries.
Yes, but I remember, I think there was a promise from the president of 1 million shillings, and you're saying...
I think the president did it, but he didn't know, you know, how
but then how are they facilitated when they come to camp?
Yeah, we're being given daily allowances. We are being given daily allowances, match allowances, and winning bonuses, like that. But we don't get, actually, as coach has said, we're not supposed to get salary. We're supposed to get allowances and bonuses.
It is the first that engineer did. It is not anywhere.
Yeah.
Now, if the president promises that money is for the president, not federation, okay? So if it doesn't come on time, we don't blame the federation. We maybe blame the president because of the bureaucracy that goes on through to get that money.
Gentlemen, hold on to your points because we're going to take a break and we'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching On The Spot. My name is Patrick Amara, and my guests tonight are Andy Mwesiwa, former captain of the Uganda Cranes, and Mike Mutebi, former coach of KCC and the national team. And we're discussing the beautiful game of football in our country. You know, sometimes I wonder how, especially for you as a coach, who I'm sure you had the responsibility of looking for talent, scouting, going all over. We have a country where we hardly have no academies. And so sometimes you identify people during the cognitive stimulation when they are growing, probably they are already rigid and you may not change them. And some of these things are supposed to start at a lower, you know, building those values and discipline and even skill. So how do you do it? You must be having you must have had a big challenge to spot talent.
Yeah, for me, when I came into football, first of all, I had this love for the game. And I would always borrow experiences from the others who are better than us. So when I started coaching, I started in schools and put in place a scouting system. I would relate with the games teachers, you know, because they always stay with the players, know them better, you know. So that scouting system helped me to unleash new players. People would say, where did this one come from? But for me, I would know that I was always liaising with those people who were with them at that formative stage. So it was just a matter of polishing them coming here. Now, in the absence of having a scouting team is a big problem. National team must have a scouting team. Must have a scouting team. Fufa has put in place the under-17, ensuring that clubs look for players and build them in their development site, okay? So that you can monitor their growth. And this has been exemplified by the under-20, because most of those guys came through the under-17 and they could monitor their growth. And that's how they performed well.
Do you, as coaches, sometimes get pressure where somebody would want him in pushing their son or whatever to play, because it's an honor to play for Uganda and there are only 11 positions at any given time? Do you have that kind of pressure?
No pressure. You make the final decisions. You are not told. You choose somebody on merit. Okay, it's not about my son or whoever is your boss, my friend. No, on merit. Go there, play on merit. And that's where maybe some of our coaches fail it. Because the boss may say, no, I want this one to play. And when you allow that, because you maybe think if you don't do it, you lose a job, okay? But it will not be the right thing to be done.
There's an issue, I'm told, of falsifying, for example, age. And I'm told when you're going to play professional football, sometimes players find it difficult because you say you are 22, but actually you're 28, and the body and the age won't lie. You reach there, you may not manage. Is that just, that is being talked, sometimes I hear it in the corridors, but is it true that people can lie about their age and then it will catch up with you if you're going to playing professional football?
I can't justify on that. But to me, I think as long as you can play football to your top and perform, I think age, doesn't matter. Yeah, so yes, it may be true or not true, but to me, I never lied my age. Yeah, I've been playing with my age, and upon my retirement, I think I based on that one. Yeah, because time comes when you can't really, do to your best. By the way, if you're 20, I'm very sure a guy of 35 can never compete with you in any way. Only maybe to the goalkeepers. They can go up to maybe even 40. But with these inside players, you can't. So with the age, but I hear West African do it a lot. Yeah, they release passports when they've already reduced something like 10 years. And it is evident, you find some of them collapsing on the pitch, because at some point they are forcing, to play, yet, age is on their side.
There's money that I'm sure is put in the budget for Fufa. I think it's about 10 billion Uganda shillings. But I can also imagine there's money coming in from FIFA, from the Federation International Football Association. Isn't that money, you're not a Fufa president, but you have inside information. Isn't that money enough to run the affairs of the federation?
I think the federation has done well. They have used that money to grow assets, like now the Indian,
technical center.
People are trying to build the Kataka, I think they have used that money well to build infrastructure. They have also used that money well to grow the youth setup. Okay, they have invested some money in youth development. They have also invested money in educating coaches and referees and managers of clubs. And I think they have used that money well to service the league, although they need to solicit for more sponsorship to strengthen the league, put more money in the league, the leagues, big Uganda Premier League and the big league, okay? But otherwise, in my opinion, they have used that money well. And you can see, I think Fufa is the third best run association on the continent. That is Kudus. You see? So I believe they are doing well, and they are still growing and emphasizing, and whoever takes off at Fufa as the president, I believe they are going to build on what has been already put in place and improve what has already put in place.
During your time, Andy, if I may remember very well, especially in trying to qualify for Africa Cup of Nations, sometimes we would come so close and maybe we miss it. And then the story always in Kampala is how we have gone back to the mathematics. Yeah. If Angola beats Cote d'Ivoire, if Cote d'Ivoire maybe beats Comoros, and maybe we have a chance. Those things, those days were really agonizing and, could just disturb our heads. Yeah. Until maybe at one point when the other day we managed to go. But it would always be, was it always like bad luck? That it would always be in mathematics?
Yeah, I'm a believer, a staunch believer. I would say those days were not our times to qualify, because we really had a very good team, and we could compete with very, very good teams, on the continent. But as you've said, we could reach the last, games, and we end up, not qualifying.
Playing another team beats the other, then
yes.
You can have a...
Like for example, take the Kenya-Uganda game in Ambole. You know, Kenya had no, motive of even winning the game or doing what, but we ended up not winning the game. We only needed a goal and we could not score. We got in very, very many chances, but we could not convert them. So to me, I think, I would not say bad luck or what, I would say the times were not ours. Check this team here. The time we qualified for Gabon, check the group we were in. And who was the giant in that group? That was Uganda, and it was automatic. We had to qualify, So I would say it wasn't our times, and now these are the days for Uganda to do what? In this last game, in this qualifier, I think we just erred somehow, and that was technical. There were technical errors that were made, but we had a very good team that was bound to qualify. Yeah, but those technical issues hindered us. So I would say the times had not yet come for Uganda to qualify in our eras, even when Coach Mike was playing, even when the Majidu Mosisis were playing, even when the Sulakatos, these were very, very good teams, but they could not qualify. So I think it was just not our time to qualify then.
And I think now there's a lot of belief that
we can.
We can.
Yeah.
Usually, when we were going to play teams from
West Africa,
already would surrender that we are going to lose, and maybe it was a matter of how many.
The psychological war.
Yes, but now the belief
is
there that they can compete with any.
Yeah. And coach, do you know how that has come up? Is because we're having very many now professional players. Then we only had a few professional players, so we had that inferiority. People could say, oh, the other team has gotten, actually the entire team is in Europe.
Yeah,
like that. Yes, but now
they have been in Europe.
Yes.
But when they're not playing well.
Exactly. But now players believe in themselves.
So even that psychological issue is also affecting your opponents. Now they believe, oh, you're meeting Uganda.
Yeah.
You have to be.
Yeah, it is there. Yeah, it is.
Fight.
Yeah.
It is.
So that has given a psychological boost.
Yes.
And West Africa is no longer looking at East Africa as underdogs.
Yeah. Like now we are playing Egypt. Egypt respects us. We are playing Tunisia, they do respect us. Like that. So we've grown to that level.
Now, as long as our clubs...
But in Southern Africa, there have been areas, especially places, a country like Zambia, they seem to have, in southern and the south of the Sahara, they seem to have really kept it at a higher level.
It goes up to the clubs. As long as our clubs can win trophies here and compete well on the continent, because the players they are competing with on the continent and that clubs are the ones that are national players for their nations. So when they are rubbing shoulders with them, it becomes common practice. They don't really have this inferiority complex. Yeah. So that's why I believe Fufa should add a lot of money in club football so that the clubs become powerful.
Now, talking about clubs, I've traveled and had an opportunity to travel with some of these clubs. You find players from TP Mazembe. You really see they are more or less like the European standard, how the facilities they have. Players from Enyimba, players from Mamelodi Sundowns or Al Ahly. There's a certain level, almost you may think it's a national team, yet this is just a club, especially TP Mazembe in the Congo.
It's brought in by sponsorship. Yeah, all those clubs have big sponsors that inject in money. And so once you have the money, you can do whatever you want. You can even buy planes, you be chartering your club to go play continental games like that. So as coach has said, it all goes back to having enough funds in the league and the clubs.
You're a former coach of the national team. For us to take our game to another level, coach, what do we need to do?
We need to work hard. Simply, we must follow the international best practices. We must identify what do we want to play. We must have belief that we can play what the Europeans do. not be scared. There is one thing. It is very difficult for Ugandans to dare. You must dare. When you dare and stick to what, then others will do what? Will follow. So I think we must be daring to do the right things, and especially to work hard on clubs. Facilitate the clubs well. Club owners should not only look at winning trophies. No, they must look at growing their clubs. TP Mazembe did not just come like that. Sundowns did not. It took time for Sundowns to be where it is. You see? So this growth and belief will be very important for us to compete with the best. And I believe because we usually have the talent, it is just a matter of organizing that talent well, nurturing it well, and having the belief that we can.
There have always been those bickerings for money and the conflicts within Uganda Cranes, sometimes camp, the indiscipline of the players. We have also had it. Sometimes you go to camp and then somebody you know disappears, takes a French leave. Have we outgrown those, or you think those are still there?
It is evident they are still there, and you saw of recent. I don't want anyway to talk about it. Yes, but yeah, for the good of the game, I'll have to say something about it. This incident of my colleague, Aucho. To a professional footballer, actually, I wanted to add on to what Coach Mike was saying about the league and improving all this and stuff like that. To me, I should say we should get to professionalism. Let us put this game of football, in a professional way. We should take it in a professional way. So I get back to the incident of Khalid, because right now, a lot of things have been pointed out. This hindered us to qualify and stuff like that, But at the end of the day, it gets back to the players, because nobody is on the pitch. It is not the floor president on the pitch. It is not the coach actually on the pitch. It is the players. You're seeing these coaches here. They give you instructions. You go with the instructions on the pitch to play. But it is not the coach that will, come on the pitch and score a goal or defend for you. It will be you. So
it's better you defend your own brand.
Yes. Now to get back to that incident, when you're a professional player, there are some things you are not allowed to do. They've assigned you duty, or they've given you a program that, maybe we are having a trip we are going for a game, an away game and stuff like that. You're being told, you are supposed to arrive at this time, and, we shall be leaving at this time, and everybody is supposed to be in camp. And for you say, what, I'm staying home. No. Professionally, let me tell you, you'll incur a lot of penalties. Actually, you lose it all. And if it goes beyond, they can even terminate your contract. So, to me, I didn't expect a person in Khalid Aucho, a professional footballer, to act the way he acted. Yes, he apologized thereafter, but to me, I think it wasn't called for. He would have cut that immediately by doing what he was supposed to do. Come in camp, a few weeks, 2 weeks, actually 2 weeks, 1 week, 2 weeks, play your game and go, so that you hinder all what the results.
The problem with most of these players, the word professionalism, they don't practice it. Discipline, first and foremost, must be adhered to. If there is a code of conduct, you must stick to that code of conduct.
Exactly.
You abuse it, you are punished. Even where they are playing professional football.
Yeah.
You abuse it, they are going to punish you. They are not going to pay you salary.
Yeah.
But here they think, it is Uganda, you can do whatever you want.
That is why I said I never expected something of the sort from a player of that caliber in the Egyptian league, actually.
Mike and Andy, hold on to your points, because we are going to take a break. When we come back, I'll open the lines. You're going to see the numbers on your screens. pick your phone and call us, and please make it brief and concise. And I'm sure many of you enjoy the game of football, like here we do. We want to hear from you. How do we take football in Uganda at another level, especially our national team? We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching On The Spot. My name is Patrick Amara. My guests tonight are Coach Mike Mutebi, former coach of KCC and national coach. We also have the former captain of the Uganda Cranes, Andy Mwesigwa. And now this is the moment when you also have to have your say. You're going to see the numbers on the screen. Pick your phone and tell us what you think. And please keep it short, precise, and concise so that we can get many views. How I wish you can be debating and giving us, recommendations that you think are implementable in trying to carry the beautiful game forward in Uganda. So I'll be taking your calls very shortly. Well, we've looked into the issue of pay, and Andy, you're saying the issue of pay is not, at least now things are better than in your years, even before your years. And actually, you can see people who have retired recently, including yourself, sir. You're doing very well. I mean, you're into now to business of education. You started a school, didn't you?
Yeah, I have a school in Wachiso. It's called Andy Mwesigwa Comprehensive High School. Yeah, it is a secondary school that runs from senior 1 up to senior 6 for boys and girls, boarding.
So you have benefited from your talent big time.
Yeah, actually.
And you're giving back to society.
Yes, but to be honest with you, I accumulated my funds from a club. That is when I went and played professional football abroad. Yeah, that is where I accumulated a lot of money in countries like Iceland. Remember, I was there with the IBB Football Club for 4 years. Then I left Iceland. I went to China for a year. Then from China, I went to Kazakhstan for 4 years. Then from Kazakhstan, I went to Cyprus for a year and Vietnam for 2 years.
Wow, you've trotted the globe.
Yeah, so I got in all the funds that I have and my wealth from those countries. Yeah, but locally, I would say, yes, with the national team, yeah, I accumulated some money. That was good enough to, if I had maybe said I'm to invest, I would also be living a good life.
You know why I'm asking that question is because in your story, you are inspiring that child in Vundubujo, that child in Aduku, that child in Chawente, that child somewhere in Parombo who is listening and like, okay, maybe I can do this, maybe I can turn around my life, I play for Uganda, and then, I give and it gives it back. But how has been our journey like? Because, Mike, you have a talent of sporting skill, people who have the skill to nurture them, and some of them have gone out to play in other countries, including Andy.
He was my coach
I think you have been very good at sporting talent. But how do we stand now in having people go and play in the major leagues in other parts of the world?
It starts home here, because if you decide that you're going to be a professional footballer, you must follow the standards that are required. First of all, you must be disciplined. Give all your time to that game. Now, with that, you know that I'm going to do this in my career, but using football to earn money, use that money well. Use that money well. That has been the problem. Players get money, even here. These players get money, but they misuse it. They end up crying, Fufa should do this for us, as if Fufa is supposed to be their father. So it starts down this way. You are going to be a professional footballer. This is what you're supposed to do. You must work hard. Know that working hard is going to earn you a good living, and you're going to accumulate money, and that money, you must use it well. There's nothing as joyful as earning through hard work. He can tell you. He can tell you. He's earned money through hard work. Moving here and there, knowing that he's securing his future, which he has.
But also, we have seen people who are talented in sports and sometimes in entertainment, because you get the windfalls. And by the way, in sports, I suppose you have a window of about maybe 10 to 15 years to be able to make that money, because after that you may not be able. So you have to live on what you've already invested.
And you always have 6 years of top form. 6
6 years of top form.
Yes.
So you have to know within that 6 years.
Exactly.
So you have to have the right discipline. But Coach Mutebe, do you sometimes also maybe take them through financial discipline, prepare them in matters of management, administration, and stuff like that? Because in my view, it's not enough to teach Andy only football, and if you have not prepared him as a person to go and meet the world.
I do that. Every player that I have coached, first of all, I educate them about using money. Little as it may be, but if you use it well, this is going to take you further. Usually, the coach is the first manager of the player. You not only manage factors on the field of play, but outside play. How do you conduct yourself? You see? So all the players I have coached, one thing I will always tell them: build a house, have a car, and live a life of keeping school, and live a middle class life. Because a footballer is supposed to be meeting middle class. You have a family, you have a house, you have a car, and then you invest. And most of the players that have gone through me, at least, have gone through this. And I thank them. At times, it was difficult for me to enforce, because they said the man is too tough. But for me, eventually, after all, they came and said, yeah, those things you told us have helped us in life.
I have seen sometimes players themselves, especially after a game and maybe they've been promised something and money has not come. When you look at what some of your colleagues exchange on social media, it's a real war on the cyberspace. And then I'm wondering, have these people been prepared? What the things they talk about? They don't look like they have gone through the hands of coaches like Mike Mutebi.
It is being
What do you make of that?
It's personality problem, really. There are the things you have to, because most of these players, when you come into public life, now you're public property. Everybody is going to look at what you are doing, how you live. So any mistake you make is going to be amplified. Yeah. So it goes back to the personality themselves. How do they carry themselves? How do they behave? This thing of social media, you know, people using social media, some things are silly, really. Social media, what is social media going to help you, really? You know, you are asking money for president using social media, really? You see? So I think, but it goes back, like I said, to personality. If people are ready to listen and do the right things through good guidance, they'll always get where they want to be. So,
Andrew, we thought maybe you're going to start a football academy, considering this is something that you love the most. Or maybe the Andrew Municipal High School
actually,
is in a way football academy.
Actually, I did that long time.
Okay.
Yeah, I opened up an academy in Jinja called Andrew Municipal Soccer Academy, Jinja branch. And I'm glad to inform you that we already have products in the national team. I would love to mention the likes of Mugulusi Isma. I understand Coach admires him a lot.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that boy, it is me who nurtured him through my academy in Jinja. We have the likes of Oyo Dalton, the goalkeeper. He's also from my academy. Mokisa Owen, also from my academy. Opal is also from my academy in Jinja. So I started it in 2012. Yeah, and when I retired from football and came back home, opened up my school, the Animal Comprehensive High School, I again opened up a football academy that operates in holidays. Yeah, so I have 2 academies, one in Jinja and one in Wachiso.
Okay.
Yeah.
As we try to conclude this discussion, Coach Muchebi, I have seen, you know, I remember during the Kampala Kids League when it was vibrant, those kids would do wonders on the pitch, and they would even go to Europe and perform better among their equals. But and most of them would come from affluent families, you know, middle class people have a little bit of some money. But moving forward, maybe some of them were not even Ugandans anyway, because that's most of them are from international schools. But then somehow they disappear. You know, you may find now that Andy's academy has young boys at the age of 10, 12 doing well, but as they continue there,
this is what I was saying. Andy starts an academy where he educates players at the age of 13. Now, it is upon the clubs to look at what these academies are doing.
just hold on a little so that we can get some people, maybe we're going to be on that. Okay, maybe you can continue. I had a problem with the line.
You can grow on that.
You can make that call again, and the lanes are open now.
For instance, if I saw Mugurusi being nurtured or Par being nurtured, I had to bring this boy to KCC.
I have a call online. Hello. Hello. I have a call online. Hello. Okay, it appears I'm getting some technical glitches there, and my producer will be working on that. Yes,
Now, it depends on the scouting system of a club. Because for you, Edgar Academy, they are going to nurture players. Now, it is up to the scouting system in the club to say, oh, there's a guy there, well developed, bring him to that club. But not so many people are keen to doing that.
Okay, let's see what Ugandans are saying tonight about the game of football. I have a caller online. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, good evening, sir.
Fufa.
Okay.
Kirooto ku mulembe gwa muzeeyi Magogo. Nebaza Ande Mwesiba, kapiteeni w'eggwanga. Eyaliko kapiteeni w'eggwanga n'enkwebaza. Nebaza naye ne ngamba Ande Mwesiba, mwali mubaddekaawo ne mwebaza Fufa eriko eya muzeeyi Magogo. Otutwala mu Africa Cup emirundi ebiri. Naye nga ffe bannayuganda bamutwerabira mangu ne twogerera Magogo ebibi. Naye ebirungi ne tubyerabira byakoledde omupiira gwa Uganda nga Magogo. Mwebaza nnyo nebaza nnyo gavumenti ya Magogo. Otutwala mu Africa Cup fedda byalinga birooto byaffe. Nga tulina zi Nigeria, zi Ghana, ate mwana tubeerako naffe Uganda. Omulembe gwa Bobuwa nga tetusobola kugenda mu Africa Cup. Omulembe gwa Bobuwa nga abasambi b'omupiira balya bikajjo. Kati waliwo ne gwe basasula kusamba. N'omulembe gwa Magogo. Olaba abasambi b'omupiira bamuwa bukati.
Okay, you've made your point, sir. Thank you so much, and I'm sure, gentlemen, you've had. But you have been appreciating.
Yeah, we've always been appreciating the
even here right now. You've been
yes,
appreciating.
exactly.
Nobody has attacked him.
Yeah, but again, I would like again to inform that gentleman that you know, football has always been a collective responsibility. You know, everybody has been doing his job. The players have been doing their job. The coaches.
Okay, let me just take another call online. I have a call. Hello. Oh, sorry. You can call again. The number is on the screen, and tell us what you think. Yes, it's collective responsibility.
Yes. And we should also recognize the efforts of the past federations. You know, because if they weren't them, then this one will build on nothing. You know. So.
Okay. I have another call online. Hello.
Hello, yes, good evening, Kamara.
Good evening, sir. What's your name?
My name is David. I'm calling from Soroti.
David in Soroti, you're on air, sir.
I have 3 things to say. One, I would request Fufa or the technical team to have our national team call-ups made. We don't...
Oh, it's a pity you didn't conclude your thought there, your submission, so we don't know what you wanted to say. But maybe you could call again, a caller from Soroti.
Yeah, I was still adding on, saying that even these past federations, they did their part. They laid the foundation to this federation now in place. You know, so you can't overlook them and say they did nothing and stuff like that. No, I've said football is a collective responsibility. We need to appreciate everybody, right from the players to the coaches and to the administration.
And the fans.
Yeah, and the fans as well, actually.
It's been an organic growth.
Yeah.
You started with Dennis Obua's Fufa, then Kakaire. You know, it has been growing. Like I said, Fufa then had one Fufa house.
Yeah.
You know, when Magogo took over, they built another house. They built a technical center. You know, they are now building a stadium. You know, so it's a collective growth from 1B, 2, and all. And even if there is another Fufa president, he's going to grow to improve what has always been in place. Because what Magogo did was to put things in place, structure everything. So for me, I believe he's done a good work, really.
It appears, when I look at, for example, the regional tournaments, like Sekafa, we dominated that so well. And but in other leagues, we sort of struggle. Is it that teams in the region, in the Eastern Central Africa, are weaker, or how? Because when you look at the dominance in Sekafa, is unprecedented.
I don't think so, because they are weak. They do things better than us. Usually for us, we play tournament, but teams like Simba, they grow, not only play in tournaments. That's why we're going to see them in Champions League. You know, clubs like Gor Mahia. You know, for us here, we have been centered to playing tournament football, a one-off, you know. So, but I believe going forward, you know, our teams are strong, but we must have this big mentality that we can do better. If we can do well in Sekafa, why not in West Africa? Why not in Kosafa? You see, so you can see whenever our teams play tournament, they play very well. But you ask yourself, what about this Champions League continent? Why don't we fare well? You see, that's where maybe clubs have to invest more in the belief that they can compete with Sundowns, with TP Mazembe, with El Ahly. We can compete with these people. It's just a matter of belief and doing things right.
So where we are now, you convinced, gentlemen, that we have built a foundation where we can take on anybody, and we are going to go forward with less disruptions because the foundation is there.
Yes, it is evident. I will talk about KCC. You know, you saw when they went on the continent, they really performed, you know. And get back to the national team, it is the same. Okay. You know, we've been competing with these...
Let us hear what this other caller has to say. I have a caller line. Hello.
Yes, Kamala, thank you for the show.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I wanted to inquire to Coach Mike, maybe what is his next move in KCC? Is it joining another team in Uganda? And what is his plan? Okay. And also, he talked about the professionalism in football, and I'll concur with him that, like, a player like us in the corporate world, you have to align all at work. Or if it could be put into our local-based players, it would be okay. And that's the want to learn in TV, because nowadays people are interested in the local content. Okay, the European leagues are good, but the local soccer is growing. So of late we're not going to the stage yet because of the COVID, but we like the local football. Thank you.
What's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm called Alan. I'm calling from Buziga.
Alan Buziga, thank you so much. Okay, so you're convinced that where we are, and Mike, I'm sure you will have to respond to Alan. That's a specific question coming to you.
Alan, what Alan is saying is true. If it were not for this pandemic, there would be huge numbers at the stadium. Because by the time the pandemic came, we could see at least 5,000 fans in each matches, which was very good. So the number of fan base had grown, and the enthusiasm had also grown because of the performance of the clubs. So, but because of the pandemic, and if this pandemic maybe they remove some restrictions, you're going to see more numbers in the stadium. About my next destination, I'm still looking around to see what is happening and following the trends in football. Of course, I'll always stay thinking about the game, rendering services where need be. Yeah.
All right. I think our time is now out, so let me begin with you, Andy. You tell us your concluding remark on the show tonight.
Yeah, I always say, in whatever we do, let football win. Yeah, because whenever the game is growing, we are happy and everybody is happy. Yeah, that is what I can say, and maybe call upon the fans, as you know, as coach has said, if there is the lockdown on the, the restrictions on the games, like maybe to have as many people as possible, let them come and support the game. Whenever fans come in, that means we are going to get some good money out of the collection, and the players will be happy, and the administrators will be happy, and everybody will be happy. That is what I can say. Thank you so much.
Mike, your parting shot.
We should support Fufa, encourage what they are doing, criticize positively. Instead of waning, we should give positive criticism to help the game grow. And I think if the game grows, of course, there are going to be more jobs. Fufa will employ more people, and the game itself will employ more people. So I believe we work for the game and for the good of the game and make this industry grow.
Coach Mike Mutebi, former coach of the national team Uganda Cranes, I want to thank you so much. Captain Andy Mwesigwe, former captain of the Uganda Cranes, I also want to thank you so much, and all of you who have been a part of the discussion, I want to thank you for your great company. If there's anybody who doubts our patriotism, the love for our country, it should be at a game when Uganda Cranes is playing any team from anywhere. That's when you can see that Ugandans are united, that Ugandans love each other, that Ugandans are speaking with one voice. In fact, the players on the pitch could be coming from different parts of our country, but we all call them our boys. I'm always very proud to see our boys playing the beautiful game. Good night, and God bless Uganda.